Sunlight glinted off the Camp Nou seats as whispers began to circulate. Barcelona, a club steeped in history, was hunting for fresh fire on the left wing. It felt as though the city itself held its breath. Reports flew like startled pigeons, each one insisting that manager Hansi Flick simply could not endure another season with a patchwork attack. "We need someone to launch those blitzing runs," Flick allegedly insisted, his voice echoing through the empty corridors of the training ground long after players had turned off their lights. Yet despite the urgency, deals collapsed one after another. Stars who once seemed within grasp slipped through the cracks, and financial hurdles loomed like spectres in the Catalan summer heat. Every morning, fans awoke to the same questions. Who? When? Will Barcelona ever get their man and bring back the sparkle that made this club a global phenomenon? Then one balmy afternoon, the silence shattered. Marcus Rashford joins Barcelona on loan from Manchester United. Read the club's statement, crisp and unwavering, like a gunshot across a tranquil plain. The news rippled instantly. 27-year-old Marcus Rashford, the electric English forward known for thunderbolt strikes and lightning-quick sprints, would don the Blaugrana colours for one season. Yet, for now, he remained bound to Manchester United by a tie that could only be severed if Barcelona chose to pull the trigger on a buy-option clause. Supporters flocked to their screens, hearts pounding like tribal drums, pictures of Rashford's new haircut and smiling face plastered across every social feed. The stage was set and the actor had arrived, but would the script follow the perfect arc fans so desperately craved? Behind the scenes, a different story unfolded. In dimly lit boardrooms, club officials tiptoed around leaks like treasure guardians, ensuring Rashford's arrival stayed under wraps until every I was dotted and a T crossed. A veil of secrecy descended. Scouts silenced, agents hushed, media embargoes imposed. Even the training ground's CCTV cameras seemed to blink in complicit silence as Rashford signed his contract. It was a careful ballet choreographed to perfection, waiting for the final flourish, the unveiling. And when Barcelona finally pressed send on their global announcement, it wasn't just a tweet. It was the crescendo of weeks of meticulous manoeuvring, designed so that no stray headline could spoil the moment. Yet the fine print of that tweet held another tale. Tucked within the paragraphs lay a purchase option, a potential future door swinging open if Barcelona's coffers and conviction aligned. Rumour had it the price hovered in the region of euros 40 million payable at season's end should Rashford light up La Liga the way he did the Premier League. Conditions were murky, appearances, goals, minutes played, but one thing was clear. Barcelona were not merely renting talent, they were auditioning for a long-term commit. This clause cast ripples through the club's budget, forcing board members to juggle wage structures, potential sales, and the ever-present quest to comply with financial fair play. As the ink dried on those pages, the deal felt less like a gamble and more like a high-stakes chess move. In the heart of Barcelona's training ground, Flick surveyed his attack like an artist appraising a blank canvas. There was Rafinha weaving past defenders with silk thread dribbles. There was Lamine Yamal, a teenage whirlwind already captivating fans. And there stood Robert Lewandowski, the veteran marksman whose finishing was etched in steel. Now Rashford entered the dance, a powerhouse runner whose raw pace demanded respect. Would Flick deploy him as a traditional winger, hugging the touchline and whipping in crosses, or might he invert Rashford's run, cutting inside to unleash that thunderbolt shot? The German coach's tactical notebooks bulged with possibilities, each more tantalizing than the last. But with so many stars hungry for playing time, Rashford's brightest performances would have to arrive early, setting off fireworks that dazzled teammates and appeased critics alike. By the following morning, images surfaced of Rashford perched behind a mahogany desk, pen in hand, his face a blend of satisfaction and anticipation. He'd inked the contract, a document promising new challenges under the Mediterranean sun. Around him, Barcelona's crested pennants fluttered gently in the conference room breeze, as if applauding the new arrival. Yet for Rashford, this was more than ink on paper. It was a rebirth. Gone were the familiar shores of Manchester, ahead lay the winding alleyways of Barcelona, the roar of Camp Nou and the legacy of legends who once thrived here. As he stood and shook hands with club president and sporting directors, flashes from cameras punctuated the moment, each click a promise. This was only the beginning, but life at a football club is never static. As Rashford's chapter opened, other subplots demanded attention. Contract renewals lingered on the horizon. Talented youngsters and established heroes alike pondered their futures. Meanwhile, whispers of exits drifted through the corridors, fringe players seeking greener pastures, veterans weighing retirement, and those caught in the crossfire of squad trimming. Behind every headline stood a domino effect. One departure funding another arrival, one renewal sparking negotiations elsewhere. Barcelona's front office operated with military precision, balancing ambition against stability, desire against discipline. It was a summer symphony, with each instrument harmonizing toward the grand crescendo, the start of La Liga and the Champions League odyssey. Then came the day of the open training session, when fans flooded into the stands like a river of colour, shaking Camp Nou's foundations. They had heard rumours, read the statements, watched the videos, but nothing matched the thrill of seeing Rashford's silhouette sprint along the touchline, the early morning light catching the sweat on his brow. A collective gasp rose as he burst past defenders in a drill, his eyes alight with determination. Would this be the moment that silenced doubters, the spark that reignited a fading dream? Still, questions hovered in the humid air. Can Rashford adapt to the tiki-taka rhythm? Will La Liga's defenders contain his pace? How soon can he forge partnerships with his new teammates? Every answer seemed tantalizingly close and maddeningly distant at the same time, a puzzle waiting to be solved under the bright floodlights of Europe's grandest stages. As the summer sun dipped behind Montjuïc, casting long shadows over the stadium, one truth shone brighter than ever. Barcelona had bet on ambition. They had chased the dream of a rejuvenated attack, of silverware lifting nights under star-spangled skies. Now with Marcus Rashford's loan sealed, the spotlight turned to the coming season. A tapestry yet to be woven, each match another thread. Will the English forward become the missing piece in Barcelona's resurgence, or will the gamble leave them wondering what might have been? Only time would tell, but for now the stage was set, and the next act promised to be a thriller.